Are we live? Amazing. How do they get anything done these days, right? I don't understand it. I sat here for what, 2 minutes and the little thing is going like this, and then I'm like, "Oh, no, if I gotta reset, then we're gonna change the channels. We're gonna change all the links to get into here." I don't know whether the link is the same now or not. All I know is it took a bit for it to get on the air, that is for sure. It just kept going around in a circle, and I sat here waiting and thinking to myself, "Whoa, I gotta get on here pretty quick, right?" All right, so here we go, folks. It's Thursday morning, February 26th. I am your winter weather expert, Brian Burden, meteorologist, United States Marine Corps veteran, dude with a beard, dark hair for some reason, and a gray beard who's gotten old but just loves to talk to people and just wants to get out there and talk some weather, talk a little bit about life. We'll talk some of the subjects of what's going on in the world. There's definitely a big basketball game tonight, and I'm going to try to go live during the basketball game tonight so we can talk about the basketball game as it's going on. So click in there on that if you get a chance. All right. So that would be pretty cool on that front. Good morning, Ray. Good to see you this morning, brother. Hopefully you hung out there and waited for me. Remember what I just said, Ray. I'm going to try to go live during the show. You can't show the game, but you can show the scoreboard, right? And you can talk about the game, and I'll try to see if I can get Peacock on another channel somewhere because it's Peacock. I don't want to pay for it, so I may just do the little 7-day subscription and then watch the game and talk about the game as it's going on, and the scoreboard will be up there for us. That'd be pretty cool. It's kind of fun. I enjoy watching other people do that. So, Ray, you could click in on that later this evening. We'll do that right here on Let's Talk Lafayette. We'll do that. That'll be pretty fun on that front. Meanwhile, weather-wise, I see some good things in our forecast. I see some good things in a lot of what we're talking about, but there's always got to be a give and take, right? A give and take of one type or another. And for us, the warm weather that looks like it's ahead for us means we're going to have more moisture in the area and more rain in the area. And I talked a little bit about that yesterday. There is a give and take for that. And today the models are looking even wetter than they were yesterday, but they also are looking warmer in a few places too. And the shot of cold later in the month of March may not be on tap. We'll have to see. 2 weeks out, it's hard to say with that, but it does look like we're going through a long stretch of warmer weather in the Lafayette region here in the next couple of weeks. I think we're all going to enjoy that. This winter's been pretty decent winter. We had a couple big storms, one real big storm, and then a lot of cold though this year. It seemed like, although we only got below zero about like 2 different occasions in December, and then again in January, pushing into February that one time frame. So let's get into it, right? We want to see what is happening. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and see what's going on in the world itself. And we're going to start off with our HER map, of course. The HER map. Well, actually, let's go look at satellite pictures. I didn't even queue it up. So the way I'm going through things now and getting on the screen now is that I have to go through each map or each area to get it because OBS is not working properly for me for some reason, some weird reason. So now you got to watch me go through every click instead of me just clicking once and it goes to a different page. But here's what we have going right now. This is the big satellite picture, and right now pretty much the entire country is quiet. We can see some showers down towards North Carolina and the Carolinas, and maybe moving into northern Florida and just moving into the Appalachian Mountains. Not much streaming over the Rockies right now. Very beautiful. The cold pocket of air is up north of the Great Lakes, and lots of warmth in the central portion of the country. A little bit of a mixture of some low clouds moving into Lafayette right now, with Lafayette being right about here where the cursor is, and a general flow that is not quite west to east, but very close to west to east. It drops a little bit, then it cuts across, and then it goes out over the ocean like that. And you have your cold up here, right? Is where your cold is, and your warm is down here. All right. So there you go. Now we're going to see a system or two come out of this area up here in the next couple of days. So, okay, so I say cold up here, right? Because the jet is down here. All right. But relatively speaking, right now, the real cold is bottled up right up in here. You can see the cold temperatures on the ground up there in Canada. That's where it's bottled up. So our cold, relatively speaking, is just a general meaning from where the jet stream is in itself, where the warm is farther south of it and cold is north of it. But relatively speaking, we are warm for this time of the year for us. So That's good news. All right, on that front, let's zoom in on this a little closer here. Let's go to one of the regional sectors. I like this a little bit. You can see it. You can see some of the low clouds right here coming into Lafayette. So the white here is definitely lower clouds, and because it's cold out, there is a possibility you could hit a flurry or two out of that. That is a possibility. Let's take a look at the radar real quick, see if there's anything popping on that at all. And really, you can't see a couple little bits of stuff there, but that could actually be the clouds just hitting into the radars. There is rain to our south. There is rain down into the Carolinas. That's the area where most of our weather across the country is today. There's a system to our north. This is the one that'll bump through possibly late tonight. And look, it's kind of cut here. So it looks like most of it's going to stay up over the Great Lakes right there and not much for us to worry about. But we do have these low clouds coming in. It'll kind of make for a in and out day with the cloud cover, unfortunately. I bet by the end of the day we see more sun than clouds, but we'll see clouds and a mixture of clouds and sun throughout the day today. What does the actual weather look like outside right now? Well, MSN says this about us. It says it's 30 degrees outside. That's why I said with the clouds coming across, occasionally you can get some flurries out of that, right? So don't be surprised if you're out and about and you see a few flurries today. But we're moving our way back up to somewhere in the mid, I'll call it upper 40s, and it all depended on that cloud bank, right? Trying to come through us. Tomorrow, look at this, 63. Saturday, 51, all above, way above normal temperatures. And then Sunday 36, Monday 39, Tuesday 42. The only below normal temperature looks like Sunday, and Monday's about average to real close. I think we're by the beginning of March, we're hovering around 40, 42 for the average highs. We'll go look at that here in a second. As a matter of fact, let's go look at it. There you go. The average high, let's find March 2nd. Boom. March 1st, the average historical daily high is now 44. You can see it's rapidly starting to jump up. And so that day will still be below normal. But as of right now, our high temperature should be somewhere around 43. So we've already jumped into the 40s for our high temperatures. And when we go back that one page, or we go back to those numbers, these can numbers from MSN, we see we're above normal except for Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday we're probably close to normal, right? And there is a system coming in Sunday night into Monday, it looks like, and we're going to look at some of those charts here shortly. All right. So there you go. That's what we're seeing, at least on the front there. What the model says: winds out of the southeast at 5 miles an hour. So it's 30 degrees outside, but it says feels like 34, but with a little bit of wind chill, it's probably more like 25 out there, if that's correct. But it's showing a mixture of some sun in there. It's probably why it warmed it up. The number actually warmed it up. So that's pretty cool, at least on that front. All right. So there you go on that and what we see there. Now, so let's go back to our shot that we had. I'm going to go backwards because it'll already be there. There it is. All right. So I can go right here. Numerical models. We're going to go to the HER. Let's take a look at the HER. I'm going to look at the Midwest look at it. We'll see the system that went by last night. And I'm not sure if any of you got any snow in the southern portions of the section of our counties. It's southern Tippecanoe County down towards Crawfordsville. There was a chance of some snow overnight. But the system is now moving off to the southeast. That's the one we were talking about. Look at that. It does show a few little sprinkles in here, doesn't it, during the day today? So that's the 18Z. Now we're talking 1 o'clock, right? Look at a couple sprinkles here and there pop up with those clouds. Nothing really major kind of come across us this afternoon. That makes me think there'll be some more clouds and the colder side of our high temperature potential today. But there's nothing really happening. You've got one high here. I'll draw them in here again real quick. You've got a high here, right? Setting up. You've got a high over here setting up. And then in between, there's a ridge area between the two, which means not much will be able to get through there, right? Plus, the systems up here are going to want to slide along because they don't want to bump into the two highs. That's the way to think about it, right? The highs will control the situation, at least as of right now, of what we will be seeing with them. Okay, so here we are later, the getting into the evening hours. Let's go to midnight. Midnight, same thing. Highs here, cutting across. The United States looks good. That system stays good. Indiana looks great. Here we are in Lafayette, right? Look at that. Nothing near us for precipitation tonight. So just those flurries or a sprinkle this afternoon is possible. And then nothing tomorrow. And here's my 540 line that I always talk about to watch for, right? That's where your cold is. Look where it's moving. It's pressing itself back up towards the northwest. excuse me, northeast, and then you can see the directions coming like this, right? So it's forcing all that weather, and all that stuff is trying to come in and to us and around us over the next few days to warm us up. So very nice temperatures there. Still no rain, nothing in the picture. This is Saturday morning, midnight right there, Saturday night into Saturday morning, and then here we go, boom. Now by the end of it, we're seeing a system right here, right? That is in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. And this is Saturday morning. And we're going to watch one or two go by through us, right? Because we still have a developing low in Nebraska right now. And this low is not today. This is in a couple days. This low is developing right here. All right. So you can kind of push it right just like this. The warm front right now would look like it's something like that. And you're seeing moisture above the warm front because the flow is coming in like this. So in this case, it says the snow is going to be a little bit farther to the north to start for us. And we'll have to keep an eye on that because that would be the case during the day on Sunday. This one looks like it'll probably go to our north. And then Sunday, so Sunday morning, we could see some things. But then on Sunday night into Monday is where we were looking yesterday for everything to change. Let's go back to the temperatures real quick here. Give you a heads up on that, and then we'll come back to the system. Actually, let's just stay on the system right now. All right, let's go to see what the NAM says for the extended forecast for that time frame. All right, well, it's only 50% done from now, so let's go back to its the last run it had and see what it says for later in the period. Okay, there's the system coming across to the north. This is Saturday during the day. Boom, boom, nothing, but the system stays just north of us. But look at this. We're kind of squeezed between two. So could we squeeze out some flurries and or some light rain out of that on Sunday morning? That's what we're talking about right there. So that's Sunday morning on that one. And then look what's coming in from the southwest. There it is. And this low on Sunday morning and Sunday during the day is to our southwest. You notice the first one, the low was here and it went up here. And most of the rain and snow was to the north, at least with that system. And maybe even dove a little more out of the northwest. Now we're coming up out of the south. We're tying into moisture to our south. And look at this big band of precipitation here. All right. So let's go back a little bit on this. We'll go back here and then we'll see what the European. Remember, I call the European model kind of the scary model because it has a tendency to overdo a lot of precipitation and sometimes temperatures too. But we're going to look at it anyway because it does give us an indication of what could be happening at different times, different places. All right, so here we are this morning. And we go through the day. There's a little system bumping to our north tonight, right? Up to our north there. And then we go through tomorrow. This is Friday during the day. I don't see any changes. There's no precipitation on here. I'm also looking at these isobars, though. Look at this. See the little kinks right here dragging down here? That's a cold front or basically a trough in our area. It doesn't have the characteristics of a cold front by the time it gets down to us, but say at some point it was a cold front, but you can see the kinks in these isobars right here, right here, right here, right here. You can kind of draw a trough right in there or an old cold front that drapes across us on this will be Saturday very early in the morning. Saturday goes by. That reinforces a little bit of cold, nothing major. And there's the little system going by on this will be 10 o'clock Saturday night. This is the little system that bumps by. So there's the potential for some of that light snow or just a little bit of light rain, depending on the temperature at the time. But look at this system developing on Sunday, and here it comes. And there you go. Bam, comes right over us. That's midnight Sunday night into Monday. So now we're starting to get our band narrowing. Remember on Monday how I talked about it was on, I think it was Saturday night into Sunday it showed. And that as time moved forward, right? That the forecast would bump farther out, but then it would lock itself in eventually somewhere. Well, it looks like it's starting to lock itself in for Sunday night into Monday for this system. All right. And as we get closer, it'll vary a little bit, but we're getting our time frame down pretty good now that we're on Thursday and we're just 4 days away. All right. Now that system looks pretty good and it does look cold at this point. Okay. Now that goes through, that's 15Z Monday morning. Let's see what we look for actual snow. Look at this 5 inches of snow potential. So we are not out of the woods right now. And this is a wet, heavy snow. Remember, a wet, heavy snow with potential for Sunday night into Monday right now. And now let's go back to the precipitation, see what happens after that. Then it kind of goes through Sunday. And look at this. It's going to start developing. We're going to see these systems come through consistently. Now, the good news here is we turn warm, right? So this is Tuesday morning, excuse me, we start to see rain. So Tuesday looks rainy, right? And then we go push towards Wednesday and we see another system back out to our southwest. So while it will get warmer, it will also get rainier during this period. And then let's go out to the GFS as far as we can on the GFS and go back to see what it says. The global. Okay, so here's the stuff that went through this morning. All right. It doesn't show much of anything happening. There's that little system on that would be Saturday night into Sunday. And you notice it actually shows a little stronger shot of precipitation and some potential for some light snow with that system on Saturday night into Sunday. It's also a little earlier with it. This is actually Saturday evening around 7 o'clock. So that's something to watch on that front. I would tend to go with the HER because the HER goes out that far at that time frame because the HER has got more data closer in. The GFS is focusing on a wider spread, but and farther out. So I tend to go with the HER closer in, and I go with the GFS farther out, and we throw the European in there every once in a while, and the NAM, right? And we try to figure it out from there. And that system then that shows this is you can kind of keep an eye on. Look at how heavy it is in spots, and that the freezing line is right here. Now, does it really try to give us any precipitation to worry about? Let's look at the winter real quick. Is there any snow in there? Snow accumulations over 24 hours show a half an inch for us and a little spot to our south where it could be really, really bad, right? So there's some potential on that front on that. But that's Sunday morning. And as you go into church, everything's cleared out and we look pretty good. But then here comes late in the day on Monday into the evening hours, the potential for snow. It starts snow about 7 o'clock in the evening. It snows pretty decent. And then it bounces to our south because of the high taking over to the north, pushes it southerly on us. And what kind of snow accumulations can we get out of that bad boy? All right. So total snow accumulation. There you go. It's only showing us with a half, and it says the main band of snow is going to be south of us, right? So the European had us in it with 5 to 6 inches. To the south here, we're only in the half to maybe inch to 2 inch range, right, on this system on Sunday night into Monday with that as that goes by. All right. So that's that system. And then watch, this is going to do the same thing the European model did, which is it's going to warm everything up and it's going to bring rain into us. And here we go. There's some more rain on Tuesday. There's some more rain on Thursday, Wednesday into Thursday. Then there's some more rain on Friday. And then we get maybe a little bit of a clearing. There's a pretty good broad high coming in on Saturday night into Sunday next week, taking control. But you notice our flow. Our flow is from the southwest during this time frame. This is next Monday, March 9th. So we're out of ways. But look at this flow. This flow is from the southwest all along here. That means warm, warm, warm for us and warm temperatures. And I don't even see the 5,400 line. It's far to the north already. It's not even near us anymore. So no worries about snow. Warm and more rain. Here's some more rain on Tuesday, March 10th. All right, here's some more rain coming in, maybe a chance for some thunderstorms March 12th. This is a long ways out though. And this is a big storm right here. This is a big storm. That March 10th, 11th, 12th time frame, somewhere in there, 12th. That's a pretty good broad storm that has a lot of snow in it, but it looks to go north of us. And then it kicks a little snow on us at the end. All right. So that's what we're seeing, at least on that front. Let's go and look at some of the temperatures, and we'll start with the HER today. All right. So because the HER's in closer, let's go look at the temperatures for today. And I'm going to zoom in on this one. Let's go with select the sector and go in a little closer so we can see the numbers. Lafayette being right about here. And sure enough, that's about what our temperature was, wasn't it? 30, 31 when I popped up the temperatures earlier. So a little chilly this morning, but still above normal for this time of the year. 31 degrees, that's where Lafayette is right now. And kind of just a very, very light flow out there. So 5 knots is nothing. There's not much wind out there, especially since it's been very windy the last couple of days. All right, so here we are. What you notice is it kind of hangs there for a while. And then look at this right here, right there. See that spot right in there? You've got a pocket of clouds of some type right here is keeping the temperature down. Then you've got some open space where the temperature is able to get up and get a little warmer. And then it's just generally a little bit colder to the north, right? But for us, we're on that verge of, yes, we're in the clouds. No, we're not in the clouds. We're going to be in and out throughout the day, and that's going to affect our temperature. So this is 17. This is noon, right? Now we're pushing on along, and here we are into the evening. Look at this. Actually gets pretty warm by late this afternoon. Now we're talking 5 o'clock, and we're hovering somewhere in the lower 40s. So it looks like maybe 45 is about it today. Crawfordsville's at 44 for their high, it looks like. So I would say we would be right in that range, 44 to 45. And the HER is actually thinking that the cloud cover is going to take a little bit out of it. All right. Now, this is the 6Z run. Let's go to the new run and see what it says, see if there's any updates. All right. Because we were kind of stuck on the 6Z because that's all that was there for the European model and for the GFS. So as we look at the current one, 12Z, we start to see 43, 44. See, it comes online and it shows us a little warmer, and it gives us that shot of getting 47, 46. So let's see what it does with the clouds. And it doesn't show nearly the effect on the clouds. You see a little bit of a bulge in there where it's a little colder, right? And we're kind of in between the two, but it doesn't, because there's a lot of cloud cover up here to the north coming off of the lake. So it's colder up there. No sun can get to it. But then it kind of clears us out. Look at that. So as we warm up, I think more sunshine. So there you go for it. If you're wanting to get out this afternoon, 45, maybe 50. Do we scratch 50? I always like to bump a little bit. This is indicating more sunshine this afternoon. And I bet if I pop the cloud cover on there, let's go for that real quick. Where is the cloud cover at? Surface, convective. Oh, it's in precipitation, isn't it? Yep, there it is. All right, so here it is this morning, and it shows a batch of clouds and stuff off to our northwest coming closer to us, right? Then it kind of comes over us for a bit. Well, what does it do? Does it break it up? There it goes. It starts to break it up, and this is like by late afternoon. All right. And then clears us out overnight, which will make it colder tomorrow morning, of course, and then keeps the clouds kind of off of us for a while. Then some more clouds start to come in late in the period, which is now on Saturday, early morning hours. All right. So let's go back to the temperatures here to give you an idea of what we're talking about, though. So there we go. We get up to somewhere in 45 to 47, maybe scratching 50 in a few spots. I'm sure your car thermometer might say that from time to time late this afternoon. Cools off tonight only to around 32 or 33. Not bad. That is definitely above normal for this time of the year, or right at it. And then tomorrow, look at this. Are we going to hit 60s? Tomorrow looks like we may be in the 60s. Looks like there'll be some motorcycles out and about tomorrow. We'll have that high temperature. She keeps showing 59, but look at this. It's 65 in Champaign, 63 in Danville. Very close to us, very warm. Even warmer north of us. And there's a pocket where we're not quite in the southwesterly flow. Yeah, no clouds tomorrow, like the model showed. No clouds tomorrow. We're going to hit 60 tomorrow. I can almost count on it. I would be a betting man that this 59 will be 60 or 61 tomorrow. So, and then we get into Friday night into Saturday, and there you go. It drops off back to about normal temperatures in the early morning hours. So what does some of the longer range forecasts say about this kind of stuff? Well, the NAM, I haven't been focusing on it a lot the last couple days, but here's what it's saying for today. It has a tendency to kind of be all over the place temperature-wise at times for me. That's why I kind of stay away from it. It shows 45 this afternoon. That's not bad, right? So we can interpolate and put in there that maybe 48 is a possibility, because this goes by 3-hour periods where the HER is every hour, right? And then the other models are all every 3 hours. And look at how broad between the wind barbs there are. So that's the information the model is getting in. The closer the wind barbs is usually the closer the information that the model is actually taking in for it to ingest, right, into its system so it can figure out what's going to happen. All right, so here we are. Then tomorrow morning, we drop down. Same thing. It looks like 30 to 32 tomorrow morning. There's some little pocket of something pops over us. Look at that temperature right there. Tomorrow morning, this would be right around the noon time frame or so. And then tomorrow, it shows 58 with 60 right here. So very close to 60 for us again tomorrow. And then NAM says, what does it say? It says getting a little colder. All right. And then starting to warm up on Saturday, but doesn't go out far enough to get the actual high temperature. So let's go back to now the Let's go to the GFS. Let's go for the long range so that we can look at some of those temperatures and what it says, because this will be the one that shows the warmth coming in, especially in the first week of March and into the second week of March before maybe a quick shot of cold later in the month. Let's see what we have today. So look at this. Right away, I see 46 on this. 47 off to our west, not very far away at all. It's at 21Z. It's this afternoon, which would be 21Z is 9 o'clock. Subtract 5 hours and you get 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's about when our peak temperature generally is during most days, right? Okay, tomorrow morning says down around 35 or so, 35, 36. Remember, you don't get the hours in between, so you're kind of you have to elaborate a little bit sometimes. And then tomorrow during the day, Friday, all right, we've got 60 right on our doorstep again. So everything is saying 59 on several of the models, 60 very close to us for tomorrow. It'll be windier tomorrow too, because that's what helps bring the warmth up, right? So the 60 will feel more like 50 at times. Saturday morning. What are we talking Saturday morning if you're trying to do something? Looks like around 36 in the morning, and then we rebound again in the afternoon to not much, right? Remember that cloud cover was coming. The next system bumps through, right? Bumps through to our north, tries to give us a little something, and then boom, it reinforces the shot of cold. So tomorrow, Friday, Saturday are your 2 days that you have the warmth. You don't have much for any precipitation out and about. You'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine throughout the entire period. Sometimes clouds, sometimes sun, sometimes clouds with a little bit of sun. So I know what you're saying. Well, anybody can hit that, but that's actually kind of the way it's going to be setting up. Remember, yesterday we were cloudy in the morning and then the sun just broke out and it stayed sunny all day, sunny conditions. But for this, it looks like some clouds during the day with some spots of sun. And then tomorrow, more sunshine with a few spots of clouds, more likely. That's what we're seeing, at least in this front. And that's going to affect our temperatures. All right. So Sunday morning, not bad. You're heading off to church. It's 28 degrees outside. You're thinking it's not too bad, right? And it doesn't get very warm, though, on Saturday. See this 30? Hence, any system that comes into us on Sunday night into Monday is going to be cold enough to snow. And sure enough, remember Sunday morning, or this would be Sunday midnight. It's what? It's 27 degrees. And all that snow and that system is supposed to bump through during that time frame. And it's 23 by morning. So we've gotten a bit colder, but we try to rebound in the afternoon on Monday to like 39. That's not bad. That'll help melt whatever fell overnight. And now, so we've got two varying models too. One says we're going to get hit at 5 to 6 inches. The other one says it's going to be south and we're just going to get maybe an inch out of it. And the people south of us have to worry about it. We'll see how it develops. We got one more day where I'm on that I can tell you what's going on. And it looks pretty bad on Saturday. I'll come back on the air to let everybody know what's happening. All right. Tuesday, here we go. Tuesday morning, pretty chilly in the morning, 28 degrees, but do we rebound any? We don't. So Tuesday's still pretty cold. Wednesday, we start to see the warmth. Look at how you can kind of see the warmth growing to our south and feeling like it's moving. And look at the winds down here, right? The winds right there are from the south to southeast. That also tells me there's probably a low pressure system just off this chart that we got to keep an eye on, right? And sure enough, there it is. And we see kind of where the warm front is. You can paste this in pretty easy. Now, when you first start weather forecasting, this is a lot harder than it looks, right? But look at this. You have southerly flow, right? Then all of a sudden you got easterly flow. Look at this, easterly flow, right? Or close to easterly right there. So what you're going to do is in between that spot is there's some kind of frontal boundary there, right? Well, easy to figure out because look how warm it is south of it and look how chillier it is north of it. This is cold, yes, but it's just chilly compared to this. So a warm front somewhere right in here, and there's a low back here. And then with the disorganization of see how the isobars are down here, then up here, down here, then up here. There could be the cold front coming down through here like this, but it doesn't look like it. It's probably trailing back here somewhere right now. So it's mostly warm front is what we're going to see. This would be Thursday morning with this system. And there was rain with it. Remember, rain, rain, rain. So it looks like rain right now on this system on Thursday. But look how it warms us up. The low, the track of the low is right here. Goes right from where it was here, tracks right kind of over the top of us, and then keeps right on going. Now, if we draw it in now we're talking noon Thursday. There's a low here. It looks like it wants to set up another low there, maybe a secondary low back here, but the warm front is still right there. See it? Look at all the warmth right here. Your cool is to the north, and then the cold front drags back here, and that's where you see the pocket of kind of reinforcing cold, right? And then there's probably a mixture of clouds right in here, which keeps the temperature a little bit cooler than it would have been. All right, so that's the system on Thursday coming through. Still looks warm, right? And then we see a lot of warm temperatures. Look how warm it gets on Friday next week. I told there it is. Hey, bam! I told you the model would go to 70 by Friday and Saturday next week, right? Didn't I say that yesterday? There we go. There's 70. And then what does it do on Saturday? Look at this overnight, Friday night into Saturday, it is in the 60s. All right. And then by Sunday, it starts to drop off. So there's a system coming through of some type, obviously. You can see the boundary right here, right? So there's cold air back here, warm air back here, probably rain and showers in here. Let's pop it over real quick. Precipitation, and it just went through, right? So there it is, right? The rain goes through, and then we start to see our temperatures kind of stall out, and we don't see any big change there. But it stays fairly warm. That's not one of those fronts that gives us cold because it's coming from the southwest to the west. The systems coming from the northwest are the ones that drop our temperatures, all right? So that's how that kind of works on that front. Now, here we are in Sunday. Next week, Sunday, look how warm it is in the afternoon. We're already 70 in the morning, heading to church, 44 degrees. By the time it hits noon, it's 67 at noon, 71, 72. So look at that. Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have our first 70s of the year potential in there. I don't think we'll pop that this weekend, but we could get to 60 this weekend, it looks like. Stays very warm into Monday, all night, Saturday night into Monday, feeling like spring, 63 degrees, 75 by Monday into Tuesday. Man, Monday, 76 for a high. And then as we get farther out, it just stays in the 60s. Look at that. Lots of 60-degree temperatures. And I'm moving forward in time here. We're now to 12Z Wednesday, March 11th. 12Z is 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning. We will have changed clocks by then, I think. So we'll have to see on the timing on that. But 72, man, this is some warm weather moving in. Look at that. And then here comes that one last reinforcing shot of cold, right? That could hit us late in the period right there. That is Friday, March 13th, which is 2 weeks out. 12Z. There's some shot of some cold coming in with some kind of cold front moving through. And then we return our flow back to the north, more like winter, I guess. But remember, spring sees lots of these ups and downs. So an extended period of warmth appears to be in us, but that's also going to add precipitation during that time frame. So it does look like that's something we are going to run into, and that we may have to have and may run into through that time frame, which is something nice though for most of us. All right, so that's it for weather for right now. Let's go back to the satellite picture real quick here. Satellite, there we go. I wish it kept the data on here so I didn't have to do this every time. But U.S. interstates, counties, right there. This is a visual starting to show up. Let's go to the enhanced visual, the one I like today, cloud face. Look at that. I like that. Let's zoom in real close to us. Well, not real close, but let's go regional. There's Lafayette right there, and there's the cloud bank. Look at that we're watching. All right, if we're on this side, it's going to get real warm. If we're on this side, we're getting warmer too. We happen to be under it right now. And let's see how it's moving in the last hour, a few hours. You start to pick it up as the sun comes up. You can see it pretty easily. Came in an hour or two ago, it looks like, as pressing through. Give it, most of the day today, unfortunately. It looks like we're going to stay under it, and then we'll see some sun late in the day, and that should help warm us up. If this thing is stubborn and stays over us all day and we don't see any sun through it at all, or get some sun later this afternoon, then we are going to show some problems. Not problems. It just won't get as warm as we were hoping it would get to. So there's your satellite picture. And we'll zoom in one more time, a little closer. Where are we at? Oh, hit the wrong one, but that was close. Where's the United States map? That's it. Got to be that one, right? All right, we're good. We're hitting around it. Why is it not giving me one? There we go. Aha! There we go, the one with all of it. And then you see all the clouds develop and come across us. All right, Lafayette's right here. But I see some open spots here and there. So we're going to see some sun through it. We're just not going to get direct sun right away. And the angle right here, look at this. It's coming straight across like this. It's got a small drop to the south as you look at it. You see that? But then look at the clouds in it. You see the clouds in it are cutting across, right? Especially those higher clouds are giving you that feel. So the entire thing sagging to the south means it looks like we're going to stay in it for a while. Maybe in an hour or two, it looks like there's a patch right here where we could get into some pretty good sun. And then hopefully this afternoon, it starts to tear itself apart by that time frame. All right. So I know what everybody wants to talk about. Well, Ray wants to talk about it, right, Ray? Ray, you still hanging in there with me, buddy? All right, I think he is. There he is. Does show him on there. Hopefully, he's seeing everything because my live chat shows a blank screen. I wonder if that's what's actually happening on my screen, or it just I paused it or something. I'll bet I paused it. That's probably what it is. Yep. All right, I'm just checking mine out, guys. That's all I'm doing. I'm gonna turn it off for now. And hopefully you guys are seeing everything that I'm seeing. But I'm going to come back out to moi so you can see moi now. And we're going to talk some basketball. All right. Is that okay with everybody? We're going to finish up with basketball and some Purdue sports. We're going to talk about some of the teams that are out there. Of course, and the huge game is what we're going to talk about tonight. That's what we want to talk about and what we really want to see and happen. I'm going to the Purdue Sports page, basically. There's some big news, though, first, before we even get to the game tonight. Purdue and Gonzaga are in the Tip-Off Classic next year. And guess where that is? Vegas, baby. Maybe we should make a trip out to Vegas for the game this fall. It'll be this fall, of course, already. It doesn't say here. I don't have any numbers that telling me where it is. There it is. November 2nd, 2026 in the Hall of Fame series opening night on November 2nd. There you go. So it'll be Gonzaga and Purdue. Those are big names in the sport, of course. Position Sports, in partnership with the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, announced the 4-game event. So there's 4 teams that are there during that time frame. The opening night showcase will feature 2 marquee men's matchups as Arizona renews its rivalry with UCLA. That'll be a really good game. And Gonzaga faces Purdue. That'll be a really good game. In an early season clash between perennial national championship contenders. And then there's a women's slate also includes USC taking on hometown UNLV in a game expected to mark the return of Trojan star Juju Watkins. So that's great there. She might be the consensus All-American coming up too. She got hurt, I believe is what happened. All 4 games nationally televised on TNT. I put that in quotes because those of us that stream don't get the national part of it, right? If we don't want to pay for YouTube or for YouTube TV or anything along that line. In addition, the John Purdue Club has announced that land-only travel packages, which will include game tickets, will be made available to John Purdue Club members. All right, so that's good for them, not for us if we want to go to the ball game, right? Consistently among the top 20 teams in the country, Purdue and Gonzaga will meet for the 6th time in the series history, with Purdue owning a 5-0 record. We have beaten Gonzaga every single time. The Boilermakers defeated the Bulldogs 3 times in a 2-year span, topping Gonzaga and the Phil Knight Legacy semifinals in 2022. That was the year that Purdue went to the national championship one year, and the year before they were one of the number 1 seeds, and that was the ugly game where they lost in the first round in that one there. So at least it looks like that's some excitement. I'm Ray, we got to make a trip out there, brother. We got to make a trip out there. Right. All right. My brother, I'm typing out the Ray. Just typing out. He's got to head out to his group. Good for him. Ray, see you, brother. Good listening, having you on here, brother. And we'll talk again soon. But let's try to see if we could do a Las Vegas trip. All right. Hey, never know. Maybe we can do it pretty cheap and watch a few basketball games in November. All right. We'll work on that as we get closer to it. All right. So what else do we have going on? Of course, is the game tonight with the big game popping up in November. And then the really, really big game tonight as Purdue hosts number 13 Michigan State in key Big Ten. Have you ever had one of those days where the tongue just gets in the way and you can't talk? I know that's every day for me. You guys understand that. But, man, it gets so annoying sometimes when the easiest words can't come out. Number 8, Purdue. That's where Purdue is ranked, right? And their Ken Pom numbers and their ratings say they're actually slightly better than that, but that's okay. They've got 5 losses. That's why they're where they're at. They're hosting 13 Michigan, number 13. And Michigan's where they are because of their losses, and their kind of ratings are a bit not as good as Purdue's. That's all it is. And that's why they're number 13th right now. All right, so Purdue's 22-5. They're 12-4 in the Big Ten. So if they can win out, right, they're going to be 16-4. First off, there was this 5-game slog of games that we were worried about, right? And right now they are 3-1 in that slog. And at the beginning, we all said, hey, 3-2 would be great. Nah, 4-1 is great. We'll take that. The loss to Michigan during that 5-game slog is that gauntlet of games we'll take. That doesn't mean any of the other games are easy either. Got to go to Northwestern, got to go to Ohio State. That'll be a tough one. Ohio State fighting for its life, trying to get into the tournament. And then Wisconsin at home, who's been playing really good or kind of off. Just depends on which Wisconsin you get from any given night. But the game is on tonight at 8 o'clock. Michigan State. Michigan State is 22-5 and also 12-4 in the Big Ten. So whoever wins the game pushes the other one behind it in the standings and for the Big Ten tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. All right. Overall, Purdue is 22-5. I believe Michigan State is they're 22-5 also. The game's on Peacock tonight. Robbie Hummel will be doing the call. If you don't want to go to television, you just want to do radio, Rob Blackman and Bobby Rydell are on the call from the Purdue Global Radio Network. Check them out too. All right. So 12-3 at home, 7-2 away, 3-0 on neutral sites for Purdue. There we go. Ken Palm, they're rated number 7. And the NCAA net rating is 6th. And in offensive efficiency, they were first to start the season. Then Illinois took over. They dropped to 3rd. Now they're back up to 2nd. And defensively, they've been hovering around the 20 mark. One day, it's been 5 days since they played. And at one time they were 17th and they moved to 23rd. It just depends on how teams around them are moving. But they're still inside that 30 mark. National champions, all of them in the last 20 years have been in the top 10 in offense and in the top 30 in defense. And Purdue is in that along with only about 4 or 5 other teams in the country. So that's where you can narrow your NCAA kind of winner down to. Generally, that's what you're going to do on those fronts. All right. Now, here's what we got. We're closing out a 3-game homestand, right? And in the month of February at the same time, we're doing that. Boilermakers against Michigan State on Thursday. It will be the second to last home game for the Boilermakers, who are coming off a 93-64 win over Indiana. That was a shellacking, and look to remain in the hunt for a top 2 seed in the upcoming Big Ten tournament. All right, that's what we're trying to do, because then you don't have to play until the very end. You get some days off while everybody else is battling out to get to you, right? Now, following the Michigan State battle, Purdue hits the road for games at Ohio State, March 1st, Ohio State, that's Sunday, and Northwestern on March 4th, which would be next Wednesday, right? First, if I got my dates right. Purdue and Michigan State meet for just the 135th meeting in series history. It says just for the 135th time, with Purdue owning a 77-57 advantage. You know what I'm noticing a lot when I'm going through all of these statistics a lot of times is Purdue is beating everybody over the years and the decades. Like they've got a winning record, a plus record of 10 or 20 against Indiana, right? Indiana, who we have always thought is a blue blood, doesn't beat Purdue that often. It's a clash, right, between the two. But realistically, Purdue generally beats them, right? Or at least has a big edge over them at any given time. And that is probably the only team in Indiana's whole repertoire of games, say that they've played more than 10 or 20 times, that has a winning record again. And it's probably Purdue. All right. Well, it's the same with Michigan State. 77-57. That surprises me. Around 500, I would have thought it would have been. All right. So Purdue has won 9 of the last 11 meetings. Well, there you go. And dating that all the way back to 2019, January 27th, where Purdue won 73-63. Now, Purdue has won 7 straight home games in Mackey Arena against Michigan State by a combined 89 points, and just 2 of the games have been decided by single digits. Okay, one of the teams has been nationally ranked in 31 of the last 33 meetings. Wow, that goes back a long time, doesn't it? And Purdue is 5-2 at Mackey Arena against Michigan State when both teams are nationally ranked. Obviously, being at home, I'll bet you reverse that. The numbers are 5-2 for Michigan State up there or close to it when both teams are ranked. Now, Fletcher Lawyer, whose brother Foster played at Michigan State, he's got something going here. He is 10 of 16 for his career from three-point range against Michigan State. That's pretty good. I want him to shoot 10 times a game. Fletcher, if you're watching, 10 times a game, brother. We'll take your 3 or 4 makes out of that time frame. 3, 4, 5, 7 makes out of that time frame. All right. Just shoot the ball 10 times from 3 and good ones. You're passing some up once in a while. Now, Looking to end its three-game homestand and February on a high note. That's what the Boilermakers face a big challenge as number 13 Michigan State visits Mackey Arena. Now, I would give Purdue a 6-1 record, a win would 6-1 record in February, which would match the Boilermakers' best mark in the month since the 2016-17 squad went 7-1. The 18-19 team also went 6-1. So February, generally a very tough month. And Purdue, if they win tonight, they'll go 6-1 during the month. And statistically, they're one of the best teams in the month of February right now. Purdue owns the fourth best overall efficiency in the month of February behind only Michigan, Florida, and Illinois. And think about this. The efficiency of Illinois is top three, just above Purdue, yet they are 3-3 during the month. So it just goes to show you who you play, how you play, and how offensively and defensively you are doesn't always necessarily mean wins, right? But it generally does. It just generally does. So Purdue is one of just 8 teams in America with at least 8 quad one victories. The others, of course, being your big boys: Arizona, Michigan, and then Purdue. All right, and Purdue also has uh, other teams that are tied with it: Florida, Kansas, Illinois, and now Vanderbilt finally put together a little bit stronger case for them to be higher up, as they now have 8 quad one wins too. Because early in the season they were playing nobody; they went undefeated for a long time. All right, so they're starting to put a better resume in for them, for those folks in Vanderbilt, and I know some folks down in Tennessee. I don't think they're Vanderbilt fans though. I think he's an IU fan. That's okay. Still love you, Bill. Purdue is 19-5 in the first 3 quads, and the 5th most wins in the first 3 quads nationally, behind only, the big boys. Arizona, Michigan, and Gonzaga and UConn have 20. Of Purdue's remaining 4 games, 3 of them are definitely going to be quad ones. That'll be Michigan State tonight, going to Ohio State, and going to Northwestern. And the others right on the cusp of being quad one. Wisconsin's number 32. I think if they come in as a top 30, if they get it, so they're right there. Purdue continues to play one of America's toughest schedules, owning the 8th most difficult schedule in America. And after tonight, that'll change. That'll bump back probably forward, because they're playing Michigan State to like the 6th in the country, right? And that's where they've been most of the season. And when you go and look at the top 20, there's only 2 or 3 teams in there that have a single-digit strength of schedule on there. And Purdue is always one of them lately. Painter has made it a big deal about playing good teams early in the season to get your resume up there, and playing a tough schedule, which makes your team better. All right. Purdue ranks in the top 25 nationally in assist turnover ratio. They are number 1. Offensive efficiency is number 2. Assists per game, number 3. Turnovers, they're 10th. They're doing great there. Field goal percentage is 15th. Let's go back to the turnovers per game. Coach Paint stresses this. I think we haven't noticed it much lately, because they're winning, and when they're winning, you don't notice that they're only getting 3 or 5 or 8, turnovers in a game. But the goal is to get like 8 or less, I think, is what Coach Payne is trying to do every single game. Basically 10 or less is pretty good. And going over 10, they haven't done very much this year, but I'll bet most of those they had losses. You could probably rank that just like that. So kind of a quiet stat that's there. But turnovers per game mean the other team doesn't get a free reign at a ball where you didn't even get a shot off, right? Okay, so Purdue's strength of schedule is ranked 8th all season. Let's see. Purdue ranks in the top 25 nationally in assists. Purdue is one of only 11 teams to rank in the top 25 in both efficiency and defensive efficiency. All right. So now the list grew from like 6 to 11. So that's something, but that's top 25. I don't know about top 10. Remember, the efficiency for the winner is usually top 10. And let me go over to Ken Palm real quick here. Let's see if we can find that. Ken Palm. There we go. All right, so I'm looking at the numbers. This is as of right now, and this updates like constantly. Literally, the game happens, and it's yours, and you see it within an hour. It's updated, right? The win is on there, the efficiency ratings, because the ratings are what the ratings are. Okay, Purdue's number 7 in the country on Ken Palm, right? So Purdue at a 22-5. Their net rating is 31.65. Now, last year, that would have been a second or a third, but this year we have this big group of teams, Duke, Michigan, and Arizona, are at 36, 38, and 38 points. Duke is barely ahead of Michigan at 38.4. with Michigan at 38-39. Those are huge numbers, very huge numbers. So what are we getting this year? We're getting a bigger crop of better teams this year. Many more teams over the 30-point threshold, and many teams at that 31 to 32-point threshold. So right now, you have 2 at 38. You got 1 at 36 in Arizona. You have Illinois at basically 34, along with Florida. It's 33-point, but they're real close to 34. And then Houston and Purdue are both about 32, and Iowa State's about 31 and a half. That's your crop of where the national championship's probably coming out of, is those 8 teams most of the year, right? Now, there'll be some wild ones that can make it into the Final Four and can make the championship, like Alabama. They're third in efficiency offensively, right? So if they're third in efficiency, they could get through if they just play enough defense. But no